I have to like, hit escape and then go to journals. But as you can see, I've got all of them. 64 out of 64, and we're going to get ready to read them out. So, Castaway Journal, Day XX. This world harbors a secret. I was convinced of this when I began re examining the globe's geographical features for my research towards the end of last year. Looking over the islands of the world, I noticed that a certain area was strangely empty. I knew there was something there. I couldn't believe how I'd overlooked such an obvious absence in this location. Within a few months, I was able to prepare and produce an estimated location of an island based on my hypothesis. With that, I set out for the island alone, by boat. Castaway's Journal, Day 0. Strangely enough, the island is shrouded in a thick fog that makes it impossible to observe from the sea. Attempting to steer away from the fog, I turned rudder, only to envelop by an even deeper fog. Just then, something attacked me. I have no idea where the attack came from, but my boat was all but destroyed, nothing but wreckage left. I was still somehow able to make it to the coast. The island exists in no database, the secret hidden from the world. Why was it being hidden? Why doesn't it show up on any maps? I am certain this is all intentional. That attack on my vessel, was it a part of the efforts to conceal it? There are more mysteries that I can count. But I'm determined to reveal all the secrets of this island. Day 1 of 1. I found this strange device on the shore. It appears to be some kind of electronic device, but its odd design is unlike anything I've ever seen. It seems to be capable of recording images and displaying information about what is shown. I've decided to take photographs of the island using this device and use them along with the journal to document my findings. Day 1 of 2. Soon after stepping foot on the island, I discovered a living creature nearby. Every creature I've found is unlike anything I've ever seen. On the other hand, normal creatures you might find on any other islands seem to be almost entirely absent. It seems this island has a unique ecosystem. I now know that its absence on any map is not the only special feature of this place. I decided to use this device I found to record the various species I encounter. Day 2. As I explore around on foot, I found a sphere emanating a strange blue light. I threw it without much thought, and the creature that it landed near transformed into what it seemed to be the light, as though absorbed by the sphere. Not believing my eyes, I picked up the sphere, and the creature reappeared and stared at me with what seemed like an admissible expression. As I began to create a shelter to protect me from the elements, the creature astonishingly began to help me. How useful! Wanting to deepen my connection with it, I've decided to name its kind Pals. To match, I've named this archipelago the Palpagos Island. Day 3. I've discovered what appears to be an ancient ruin while exploring the island. Did humans once live here? Finding some kind of murals on the wall, I found that there was none other than instructions on how to make the strange spheres from before. Using paldium, the name I've given to the blue ore found throughout the island as a catalyst, it's possible to transform mere wood and stone into one of these spheres. I must record this method and production on my device. There happened to be a weakened pal near me, unable to move. Rolling the sphere towards it, I was able to capture another pal. Day 5. I like this picture. I think this, oh no, they updated it. That's cool. I've since befriended several pals. Some are similar to sheep and birds, others to cats, Each also appeared to be skilled at different kinds of work. They divvy up work amongst themselves and make life easier for me. I'm sure the ancient civilization must have prospered with the help of the pals. Pals are not necessarily intelligent, but they all work quite diligently. Those ruins were most certainly built by pals, but there must be some reason why they were destroyed. Day 6. Something has bothered me since I arrived here. Far off in the distance, I can see what is like an enormous tree big enough to be the so-called world tree spoken about in many myths. Still, it's so large that no amount of fog would be enough to obscure it from view from the outside island. The only hypothesis I came up with is that something other than the fog enveloping this island prevents it from being seen by the outside world. In other words, some kind of mechanism must be preventing it from being seen from the outside. It seems likely the mysterious power of the pals have something to do with it. 'Tis such a pretty tree. Very pretty. Funnily enough, there's no day 7 or day 4. Day 8. I caught sight of a pal riding on the back. Wait, I caught sight of a pal riding on the back of a deer-like pal. Thinking it was a great opportunity to try something new, I tried attaching a saddle to a similar pal and riding it. It went better than expected. The pal was quite easy to ride. This will make it much easier to explore the island. Day 10. I decided to take my pals on a bit of an excursion today. A tower-like structure visible in the distance had piqued my curiosity. After walking for a while, I encountered another human. When I tried talking to them, however, they pointed a gun at me. Since they're on this island, it would make sense to consider them a remnant of the ancient civilization, but their attire was that of the modern era. Are they like me, outsiders, or has the ancient civilization survived and developed here? It was a dangerous situation, but my sheep pal protected me, allowing me to escape unscathed. Immediately returned to my base and found that all my pals were safe. There's still a lot to uncover about this island. Well, how very human. Day 11. Yesterday, I had no choice but to run, but I can't stop thinking about that tower. Just as I decided to fashion some gear to try approaching it again, I heard gunfire behind me. That person from yesterday was after me. I couldn't sit by and do nothing. I mobilized all my pals for a counterattack. Before I knew it, he got carried away and killed the assailant. It was either their life or mine. Day 12-1. Seems a lot happens right here. As I started on my journey toward the tower for the second time, I once again heard the sound of gunfire. It seems there are groups that have banded together and now fighting for territory. I believe they're mostly using pals to fight this battle. This place isn't safe. I need to be stealthy if I'm to wander around here. Day 12-2. While taking a break, I tried to figure out who those pals were, but to no avail. If they're outsiders like me, it doesn't make sense that nobody outside had ever such a large group or heard of such a large group. They must be remnants of the ancient civilization here fighting for survival. I can't fathom why or how they have guns, but it seems only natural that they must have created their weapons themselves. That, or it's possible they're imitating things that have drifted ashore for whatever reason. All right. Day 12-3. After a long journey, I finally managed to arrive at the tower. I'm nearly certain it's a relic from an ancient civilization. However, I have no guesses as to why it was built. Still, I can feel an energy flowing throughout the place, similar of the paldium ore. When I touched an inscribed stone slab, I found myself teleported. What I found there was an enormous bell and a human in control of it. I ran away in terror, and before I knew it, I found myself back outside of the tower. They were American before. Day 13. I've worked out that the ancients must have lived in luxury alongside the pals, yet due to some unknown reason, that way of life was lost. Perhaps it was a massive natural disaster, or maybe a struggle broke out for scarce pals and resources. Then again, maybe it has something to do with the teleportation I experienced in the tower. Supposing that some power is responsible for that spatial teleportation, perhaps similar how pal spheres work. What would happen if that power were utilized in other ways? A power so great that humans could not control it. Perhaps that is what destroyed the civilization on this island. Day 15. I tried to avoid thinking about it, but I've ran out of food I brought, and I'm tired of eating berries. I happened upon a pal eating flesh of another pal. It looked so delicious. I can't say I was proud to think as much, but sometimes sacrifices are necessary. I captured a wild chicken pal, butchered it, and cooked it for dinner. Delicious! The sensation of eating meat was enough to make tears run down my face. Whether in killing fellow men or pals, this island has a way of making one forget about their ethics. Oh, I snuggled under a blanket emote, can't find one. A horror. Yeah, I need to work on making one. I'm not sure if I have any space for one though, but I need to make one. I've been eyeing one. I've just been trying to think of how to do it. But I do have a. My latest edition was the side eye. Day 18. I decided to distance myself from the tower and have begun to explore other areas. There are places in each area that appear to be vast caverns. They appear to have traces of human involvement in certain ore veins. Could someone have used pals to dig those holes? I can't help but feel overwhelmed by the never ending mysteries, but my pals come with me no matter where I go, as long as I have food to give them, that is. Day 22. What on earth was that huge pal? I was simply walking along an open field when I encountered a massive pal of the likes which I'd never seen before. I fled in surprise, but if I were to tame a pal like that, I'd have nothing to fear on this island. The existence of a pal of such a massive size is evidence that the pals don't follow the laws of nature as we understand them. Perhaps their energy don't come from food or photosynthesis alone, but from some other source. The power emanating from the tower may be utilizing the same energy source, but through human hands. Day 25. What kind of egg is that? What the heck? That is a weird looking egg. Yeah, Yoshi. After living with pals for a while, I've come to realize they don't breed like normal animals. All it takes is the presence of a male and female pair. With some time, an egg simply appears. Furthermore, it seems that the bodies of dead pals simply vanish. Where do pals come from and where do they go? These mysteries have no end in sight. Day 29. Utilizing an inscription I found in some ruins, I managed to compress the size of pal spheres even further. Applying the method for remotely moving pals, I can now also teleport the spheres themselves. This had made organizing and managing my pals easier. It isn't hard to imagine that these ancients must have also moved and managed a large number of pals simultaneously. So this guy seems to have created the pal box that we all know and love. If only he implemented a feature to change the color of it. It'd be cool to have like a green, blue, yellow, or different color ones for all the different bases you have. Right. Day 30. It's been a month since I arrived on Palpagos Island. I've grown quite used to living here. Lately, I've had pals make weapons and equipment for me. A few pals seem to have taken interest in guns, so I devised weapon designs for their use. Some are quite adept at handling them, and I'm sure they'll be able to be more reliable in the coming battles. Day 32. I was caught off guard. On what was I supposed to do, or supposed to be on such a short excursion? A group of dangerous nocturnal pals attacked me, and I was injured. Why are the pals who live on this island so aggressive? I can't help but feel their attacks. I can't help but feel their attacks are well beyond what is necessary for self-preservation. Humans, for example, will engage in bloody war at the behest of a leader. Similarly to pals living here, seem to be fighting for their very land itself. I suspect they harbor some deep, instinctive drive to protect this place. This is the last one for the castaway. Day 38. Having now journeyed far from where I first drifted ashore, I have come across a massive statue in the shape of a pal. It's most certainly a legacy of an ancient civilization. But why would they build such statues? Everything I've found thus far has suggested pals lived alongside these ancients or as equals. Excuse me. The existence of monuments like these suggests that some were objects of worship. Perhaps there are certain pals out there that have special significance to both people and pals. All right. We're now going to start reading Zoe's diary. Diary -1. I don't have a family. My father disappeared a long time ago, and I've never seen my mother's face. The only ones who raised me are the guys and Griswold. That's why I know I have no choice but to keep on living in this tiny little world. They all chase around pals with their guns. They capture the ones they hurt and sell them to those weird guys. In return, they get food. They even share it with me. That's why I don't go hungry. I don't think any of those guys really care about me. They just keep me alive because I'm the daughter of their boss. I still think that even though I'm the boss now too. Number 2. Bruisebolt was one of the pals they were going to sell. She looked so lonely in her cage. She was just like me and my father. I was still a little girl back then, but I couldn't just stand by. I waited until everyone was sleeping, opened Grisbolt's cage, and ran off with her. I shared half a slice of my breakfast toast with her. But we were both hungry by evening and went back to the base. Of course, all the guys were super angry. They threw me in the cage with Grisbolt, and I thought we were going to be taken away. But Grisbolt protected me. Not even their guns or bats could beat her. How did she get captured in the first place if she's that strong? I bet she didn't even try to escape, that big dummy. I gave Grisbolt a command, and she called down a huge bolt of lightning and knocked out all the guys. They didn't wake up till next morning. Ever since then, I've been with Grisbolt. Number 3. There's a group that opposes ours, camped a little ways away from where we live. They don't like the way we sell pals and use them in battle. Our group mockingly calls them the Free Pal Alliance. We're always fighting with them for no reason. Sometimes I bet they're not bad people if they love pals that much. I wonder if there's a chance of us getting along someday. Number 4. Sometimes I wonder if there's anything beyond the sea. The only thing I can see far off in the distance is that huge tree. I've never heard anyone talk about what's beyond that place. Apparently some brave guy long ago went to see the outside world, but never came back. I have heard about people coming from beyond the sea, though. I don't know what those kinds of people do, but they say they use tools different from our own. That's why I know that there must be something beyond the sea. A whole bunch of islands, a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of things. It sounds scary, but I'd like to go sometime. Diary 5. Beyond the sea. I've started to wonder, why am I guarding this big tower again? I always thought it was obvious since father also used to do this. But now that I think about it, I have no idea why. From what I heard, they say that there's a legend passed down on this island. They say this tower is somehow related to that legend and that it has some great power. What kind of power, I wonder? Even if that's true, why does this power have to be protected? Anyway, even though I don't really know why, I'm always here protecting this tower. There are other towers around the island, and they say people like me guard them all. Alright, this is Lily's diary, the boss of the Free Pal Alliance. Pals, such strange creatures. These noble beings have upheld our civilization since ancient times. They not only boast impressive intellect, physical prowess, and adaptability, but are adorable to look at as well. How could anyone not come to love them? Humans are savage animals with an insatiable appetite for the proliferation of their own kind. They subjugate other species and enslave them. They engage in pointless strife, consume flesh for no reason, and develop beyond their needs. When no one takes into account their hideous appearance, how could anyone not detest them? Humans capture pals and exploit them. If a pal is confined to a so called pal sphere, it becomes obedient to its wielder. What abhorrent tools! One can only say that this is the greatest stain in the history of our civilization. Pals and humans were originally meant to live alongside each other in mutual support. Not a relationship between master and servant, but one of equals. A harmonious coexistence, if you will. There is nothing more blasphemous than eating pals for food. Number 2. I'll never forget the day I met Lylene. I remember that fog was so thick that day that I could barely see in front of my own eyes. I was simply walking along the berry fields, as I am fond of doing, when I hear the clamorous voices of those abhorrent poachers. When I looked to where I could hear the sound of their filthy screams, I saw them throwing spheres at a pal resembling a vivid lily flower. She was so beautiful and elegant. At that moment, I knew what I must do. I pierced their wicked hearts from behind and destroyed their scattered spheres. They shot at me a few times, but it was a trivial matter. Unable to corrupt such a beautiful flower with my trembling, blood-stained hands, I immediately turned to return home. Instead, I saw the Queen of Lilies in front of me. When she touched my hands, my wounds were healed, and the fatigue began to fade away. From that day forward, I decided that I would never leave my queen. She is the only flower that blooms in this sad, dark world. Interesting. Number 3. Won't you join the Free Pal Alliance? The Free Pal Alliance is an organization that works to protect pals. We live in harmony with these pals, and every one of us harbors deep love for them. An organization follows the 5 basic tenets. Number 1, do not eat pals. Number 2, do not overwork pals. Number 3, do not abuse pals. Number 4, do not experiment on pals. And number 5, do not hesitate to sacrifice yourself for pals. won't join us and protect the pals you love, your life in service and protecting the pals is a small price to pay. The flesh and blood of humans exist only for the glory of pals. Okay. At first, I was like, okay, she's kind of right. The first guys are kind of crazy. They sell off pals and all that. Second one, okay, I can kind of see that she's going down. Yeah, she's kind of going down a rabbit hole. She lost me in the third. Yeah, she's kind of crazy. That's probably why there's no more journals. All right. A letter penned in crude handwriting. This was a little. I didn't end up reading this, but this was one of the key things to grab to be able to fight that boss. Dear Sir, thank you for helping my injuries yesterday, and thank you for helping the pal with me too. It didn't get hurt from fighting other pals. Peoples was being mean to it. Does those people hate pals for some reason? I love pals a lot. Lots of my friends love pals too. That's why I hope someday we can work together and show all those pal hating adults how cute pals really are. Will you help us, sir? So I'm trying. Is her like mind deteriorating? I can't tell if this is Lily or someone else. Oh, no. This is Marcus, day 1. What a joke. All the idiots do around here is snort up stims. It's a real dump. There's no point even trying to control it. Why the hell did I even think about informing the PIDF in a place like this? The guys I arrested today couldn't even pay the damn fine. Guess it's expected if they spend all their damn money getting a fix. Bet they can't even imagine the money they pay ends up lining my pockets. Sell them the drugs, fine them for possession, then confiscate the stash and sell all over again. It's a flawless business model. They're idiots, and I'm a genius. Just goes to show the idiocy itself is a crime. You catch my drift? This island is just my little sandbox to play in. For all I care, they can live out their sad little lives without ever knowing I'm the one supplying their fix and confiscating it. If I let them get carried away, they'll go off demanding rights that don't belong to garbage like themselves. Catch my drift, yeah. All right, day 2. Already off to a bad start, Marcus. I don't think anyone's rooting for you. Life out here's not all peace and quiet. Yeah. The damn wind blows, and somehow somebody's cutting into my profits. Just today, some punk little syndicate clown who thinks he's smart tried selling stims without my permission. My partner, Phalaris, is always there to deal with brainless fools. That just like me, he's having fun playing in this sandbox. Or maybe he just likes eating the stuff. Huh? Don't look at me like that. No food today either. Boy, go get some of that white sand. If y'all know what that is. That's crazy. Day 3. Another peaceful day on the island. Proof that everything's smooth in our little playground, right, Phalaris? Don't worry, I get it. You've got the same look in your eyes as me. You're having 2, yeah? Or maybe you're just waiting for me to fall over dead. You sure do like eating that white stuff, huh? Someday we'll find out whether I'm just dust in your wings. Either way, let's just have fun together till then. Right, partner? This is Victor on interspecies pal experiments. Results: failure. Attempted to combine various 4-legged and winged pals, but no successful patterns emerged. Some combinations succeeded in creating bodies, but these deteriorated in seconds and all were disposed of. Impressions. Reconsideration of compounds used for reaction suppression required. Expansion of species selected for testing also necessary. Extraction and formulation of compounds derived from ichthyer antlers to be revisited. Storage temperatures conditions require review. Additional ice pal to be acquired for cooling purposes. Reassessment of test species on basic genetic data desirable. Analysis of PAL genetic information now urgent. Excuse me. New equipment required. Current equipment originally acquired through accidental external acquisition, further improvement limited. Equipment will likely need to be redesigned and constructed from scratch. On the condensation and administration of PALs to the same species. Results success. Several PALs of the same species dissolved into liquid and condensed under reduced pressure. Condensed solution subsequently administered to another PAL of the same species. As expected, administration resulted in enhanced capabilities. This is Victor's PAL, so to speak. Diary 3. Results success. Single specimen successfully produced. Artificial creation of a new species processing both quadrupedal characteristics and wings achieved. Specimen immediately transferred to cultivation apparatus. Subsequent condition favorable growth and proceeding normally. Replication attempted using identical procedures. No reproduction of results. Successful determined to be a miraculous occurrence attributable to unknown external factors. Impression. Success of the experiment, a welcome outcome. New species designated Shadowbeak. Observation to continue. However, inability to identify reproducible procedures presents a significant problem. Further experiments to proceed by the following current methodology with several minor adjustments. Addendum. Disappearance of Alex, who served as a lab assistant, remains a concern. Interesting. Axel's travel diary. Every day I'm snoring. No rivals to get me going. I don't care about the type. Ain't nobody gonna beat my hype. I'm looking for a fight. A real tough brother from another mother. Throwing in the towel ain't gonna cut it. It's gotta be a knockout, a throwdown brawl out. So fast, your eyes bleed. When we ready for the battle, you better believe the shock's gonna rock your socks off. Sawed off, my lightning is tougher than high kings. When it hits the ring, ain't nobody gonna be singing for you, playa. You ready for this hype? You read the words, so be ready for the fight. Diary. The moon on these islands remains unchanged. No. Is it the true nature of the moon to change its shape? I do not know. Many years ago, a lost soul who washed up the shore found it strange that the moon never waned, as if itself had stopped. The person once said the words crescent moon. Those words still stir my heart deeply. It is said when the lost moon appears in this world again, it will resemble nothing so much as a blade. Will I be able to witness the blade of the moon that signals the beginning? Tonight is also a full moon. Today's sake tastes awful too. Day 2. Diary 2. For countless ages, we have continued to protect this tower. The reason is unknown. Our conveyed mission is only to maintain this island at a standstill. We hunt the madman from the snowy mountain who defile the land. We hunt those who have proliferated in excess. Those who pontificate about research, justice, and such babble to preserve this landscape forever. Yes, we merely exist here. Our time does not pass. It has become unbearable. Only when intoxicated by sake and intoxicated by myself can I avoid pondering such unnecessary matters. How long has it been since I can no longer enjoy the taste of alcohol? Someone please shine a light on this perpetual darkness. Tonight is also a full moon. Today's sake tastes awful too. Diary 3. There is a disarray among the ones from the volcano. Rumor has it their leader has changed. Before their ways weren't so extreme, but now they consumed by a bloody struggle against the maniacs from the White Mountain. Those lunatics, those unscrupulous people who disgrace this place. So this situation benefits us. But why did they start fighting now? I do not know what their leader is thinking, but I hope they do not tarnish our land. Tonight is a full moon. Today's sake tastes awful too. Diary 4. The moon has reached out to our pitiful selves. The crescent moon I longed for so dearly, it is now right before me. The everlasting darkness has lifted. It is clear to me this creature is the one who will lead us to the end. No matter how many time and no matter how our time ends, until that moment, I will be with you. Incarnation of the crescent moon, blade of beginnings, please illuminate our path. Tonight is also a full moon. Today's sake tastes delicious. Diary 5, last diary. There is one who is trying to pull out the stakes. I hear the sound at the end. Now, just to sit and wait, and so, us who just exist here, please destroy us. With the blade of the crescent moon, let us herald the dawn of our era, and with death we shall be released from our shackles. At night, the moon is hidden from view. Today's sake is incredibly delightful. Diary 1. I have pursued strength relentlessly for that day, which may or may not come. Have I ever doubted this path even once? Nay, and it seems I shall not end as a fool. The nuisance will surely find its way here. Long ago, the wise ones, with the light of their wisdom, raised the towers on these lands as the foundation of a fleeting peace. Now, as it rises to stir chaos, the nuisance will see them clearly. How ironic. Is it all bad? Nay. Thanks to the ever present reminder, I shall never forget my duty. For the many nameless souls of the past, I shall slay this nameless outsider. The burden shall be fulfilled. Diary 2. This place is cursed. Nay, I say, or nay, it is I and Bastigor who are cursed. Thousands of years ago, when a colossal fortress still stood in this land, reaching towards the heavens, it appeared suddenly. The heavens shattered, and we fell disgracefully. Our kin, who once looked down upon others from the sky, fled in panic, scattered in disgrace. But nay, my ancestors alone, did not abandon this land, reduced to ashes, nor its people. Fallen from the sky, we gathered the bewildered folk and bared our fangs against it. From that moment, we forged an unchanging resolve, becoming the people of the Faebreak, And so my kin, who once merely sullied the lowest ranks, took a new throne and vowed to bear all burdens. Diary 3. This place is so pretty. The battle against it did not end, even with the aid of the Thunder Dragon, a pair of celestial horses, and a wise paladin. We could not bring about its destruction. The celestial horses, determined not to let it escape, shrouded the island in an unending winter night. The black Pegasus melted into the night and vanished. This land became still unseen, and leaving the island became impossible. The paladin, ashamed of its failure, split himself in two, vowing to never show mercy again. The dragon vanished into the skies beyond the clouds, disappearing from sight. In hindsight, perhaps it has now returned because it has sensed the coming of that day. And here we are. It still slumbers. Do I guard this land truly for the sake of duty? Nay. No matter the pretense, I cannot hide it. Perhaps I simply wish to meet a worthy foe. Before we move on to number 4 and 5, I just realized something really interesting. So the paladin, ashamed of its failure, split himself into two. Let's go to the Paldex. We have Palladius. Once one with Necromus, its gleaming form is free from all negative emotions. However, a glimmer of hatred can still be seen deep in its eyes. Once one with Palladius, its darkened form is an embodiment of negative emotions. However, a glimmer of compassion can still be seen from its deep within its eyes. So these two used to be a singular being or singular pal, but according to that journal, they split into two. That's why they're seen together and they're half of each other. Like they have normally they have combined health of like 12,000, what I've seen, but they're half of that. Each of them have half that health, which I think is really interesting now that reading this, that these two were once one, or a paladin. Let's go back to here. Diary 4. I wonder if the lone daughter of the blood of rain is well. I did her a disservice. In any case, the last time I saw her, she was still at her mother's breast. She will not remember me. Her father and I never saw eye to eye. He was not a man driven by duty or the past. On the day we parted ways, I gave him a final test, a foolish pretense. In the end, it was nothing more than a childish spite. Surprisingly, he accepted without hesitation. He turned out to be a man of principle more than I expected. It was surely a task even a child could manage. But he never returned. Since then, the young ones gathered around him were left without leadership. But it seems his daughter has taken the helm and brought back some semblance of order. Though our paths diverged, she has faithfully upheld the mission to guard the tower. Indeed, she is truly your child. Diary 5. If, just if, everything were to end, and I were free from all burdens, what would I do? An old man with little time left, what would I do? Surely I would continue to fight until I crumble to dust. The world must be vast. Surely there are warriors beyond my imagination, countless in numbers. If so, perhaps I should repair that old ship that has been too long since I last sailed the seas. And Bastigor, It is about time for you as well. After dealing with the nuisance, perhaps I will seek a mate out for you. Now to Ari's Diary 1, the newest tower boss of 1.0. I've decided to start a diary on a total whim. It's a human custom, or so I was told by a human kid a long time ago. Apparently, you're supposed to write down whatever caught your attention that day. And a life as long as mine, a single day is practically nothing. But that kid managed to leave behind a whole mountain of diaries during that brief moment. I stepped away to indulge in a little nap. I figured I might as well try imitating them. Right now, I'm staying on a remote island. There's an incredible abundance of life forms packed into this tiny space, and they all have the most absurdly diverse traits. It's a thoroughly unnatural, bizarre sight, and the culprit is almost certainly that giant tree. A massive amount of life force flows from the roots and circulates throughout the island, shaping everything here. And it feels like an excessive power, one that defies the natural order. It looks pretty fun, so I think I'll hang around this island for a while. Well, that about wraps it up for the first day of my whimsical diary. If the mood strikes me, I'll write another entry, maybe in a century or two. Diary 2. These human creatures are certainly extraordinary. Extraordinary. If I had to describe them in a single word, it would be insatiable. They're never satisfied, and they don't know when to stop. Sure, the difference between individuals can be huge, but as a whole, they're always aiming for the top, always looking for what's next. They fix their sights and just charge straight ahead. In a few centuries since I settled on this island, they've built the most advanced civilization on the planet. And that giant tree, I think they called it World Tree. Although they owe many of their blessings to that tree, their vast development is still mind boggling. Honestly, I've grown quite fond of them. They never tire me out. Watching them is just so much fun. Lately, it seems they've been pulling all their resources into researching a life form that fell from the distant stars. It sounds like a blast, so I'm thinking about dropping in to say hello. To a human, I am an existence that defies all logic. That's why I've always decided not to involve myself too much in their affairs, as power is as overwhelming as mine could easily shatter this world's harmony after all. But you know what? Whatever. The world tree is already an overwhelming force. I'll get involved, but I'll be sure to suppress my powers. Yeah, let's go with that. Ari's Diary 3. A bit of time has since passed since I started mingling with humans. This is the first time I've ever written another entry so soon after the last one. But I just met an incredible human. Her name is Zanara. When we first met, I could hardly believe she was human at all. Of course, she looks the part, but her eyes, the place of her gaze is fixed upon. It's entirely different from any human I've ever known. It's as if she is always looking down at the world from up high. Anyway, she's definitely going to be someone big. I found out she's also the one leading the research on that life form from the stars. Well, of course she is. She's what you call once in a generation genius. On top of that, she's incredibly earnest and kind hearted. Humans treat the other creatures on this island, they call them pals, in all sorts of ways. Some abuse them, some exploit them, some treasure them. But Zinara, she wants coexistence. She spoke to me of building a paradise where all humans and pals could connect their hearts across the boundaries of species, living together in harmony. I'm genuinely looking forward to it. I've witnessed so much of the history that humanity has spun, but never have I ever once seen a world, the one she envisions. By the way, while we were having that chat at the base of the world tree, I started to feel a bit strange. It's odd. For being like me, concept of health and sickness aren't supposed to exist. All right. Diary 4. That day came without warning. By the time I sensed the bizarre presence, I leapt to my feet. It had already begun. The human civilization that had spread from the base of the world tree to cover the entire island. Its light was being extinguished at that very moment. As I debated whether to descend to the surface to check the situation, a sickening terror ran down my spine. There was no doubt about it. What I was sensing was the source of this disaster. After burning most of the surface to ash, it tore through the sky at a speed completely unbefitting of a living creature, intent on bringing ruin to Sunreach. I'd promised myself that I wouldn't lend my powers to short-lived mortals, and yet I'm surprised how easily I broke that promise. It just shows how much I've come to love this place. I didn't hold back. I split lakes, shattered hills, sacrificed a massive portion of this land, and even then, I lost. That thing was feeding itself, or feeding off the planet itself. The more creatures' life force is deeply rooted in this world, like nature or like myself, the more easily its power is drained, its presence. Before that beast, we are like helpful infants. Had the battle drawn out any longer, it would have ended in my death. If it weren't for their help. In the face of death, the human children and their powerful pals put their very lives on the line because they fought to the end to seal the monster inside the world tree. I am still breathing. It's pathetic, really. I, who am supposed to possess such immense power and live for eons, am only alive right now because of their sacrifice. I have a duty to end this calamity once and for all. Diary 5. Ever since the monster was sealed away, I've been running all over the place, and I've gotten a handle on how bad things really are. The humans no longer have the strength left to rebuild or maintain their civilization. The handful who manage to survive, their only path forward is to keep passing on the fragile spark of life to the next generation, and the one after that. Since they've lost their advanced means of transportation, I've decided to step in and guide the people who survived here in Sunreach. But before that, there's something I must do. Someday the calamity will befall us again. Even now, trapped inside the seal, the beast continues to feast on the world tree. It may be a millennia before the second coming, but it will inevitably come. I wasn't enough to stop it. The one to truly slay that thing has to be a human. Some of the pals who fought alongside humanity managed to survive. A clan has protected the seas since antiquity. The Panthalis managed to find its calf and its mother. They were both on the verge of death. The mother didn't have much time left. With her help, I decided to erect a barrier so that those without power cannot reach the world tree. Last diary, number 6. It's been a long time since I last wrote in this diary. but the moment I've been waiting for is finally drawing near. Before long, they will overcome every obstacle and stand right here before me. I don't intend to pull my punches, of course, but I am absolutely certain that human child is the one who will put an end to this endless walking nightmare of calamity. Well then, I better get ready to greet them with a big smile. I've even trained hard with my trusty pal for just this moment. At last, I can finally repay humans for my salvation, and I can finally lay them, to rest. I've kept you waiting far too long, Zanara. Audio recording from a council meeting. We are now inside of the World Tree. The people grow more suspicious by the day. A riot could break out at any moment. We need to address this immediately. All this hysteria just because a few leaves fell from the World Tree in the first place. We still know absolutely nothing about that monstrous tree. But that is the nature of the public. The World Tree was their unwavering symbol. Seeing the leaves wither and drop is more than enough to spark panic. What they're truly suspicious of is the white dragon. Rumors are spreading that we intend to use the creature to bring about disaster. Absurd, and yet we cannot simply leave it unaddressed. What is the status of Zanara's findings? Unfavorable. Apparently, furthermore, her recent experiment logs have incredibly vague. She's hiding something. Vexing as she is, her genius is undeniable. She has made a breakthrough and she intends to keep us in the dark. No doubt she stumbled upon a harsh truth, one that inconveniences her ridiculous fantasy of coexisting with all living things. So, how do we proceed? Freeze the project. By whatever means necessary, neutralize the white dragon in a highly visible manner and parade the fact of the public. Understood. I will notify Zanera of. Don't bother. We have no time to waste debating a naive girl. At the end of the day, she's merely a single researcher. Cut her loose. Suppression Operation Comms Log. Damn it, the key sphere's seal isn't taking. Wasn't the selling point that it could seal any living creature? Oh, right. In theory, our dear scientists' favorite phrase. Easy for them to say when they aren't the ones testing it with their lives on their line. Arrogant bastards. Shut up and keep shooting, you idiots. Listen to me. Our orders are neutralization by any means necessary. If the seal is a bust, we only have one option left. Heh. I guess the brass will just be as happy with a corpse. Fine by me. Gloves are off. Hey, this is on you, monster. If you let yourself be sealed quietly. After several seconds of thunderous roar overlapping with multiple distorted screams, the recording ends. Agent Recorder. It's true that connecting with the World Tree will allow you to surpass your human limits, but if you do that, what will happen to all of you? We are prepared for the consequences. I have already lost everything, my wife, my child, my home. So you'll stay here, conscious for practically an eternity? There's nothing left for us. The only thing we can do is to leave a flickering spark for those who follow. Besides, this is our sin to bear. If I only had understood her just a little more. I'm sorry. I wish I weren't so powerless. Lady Ari, we leave the rest to you. Those survivors need a guide. I promise you I'll make sure they carry your will with them into the future. So leave that with me. And please go stop Zanara. Zanara's Diary 1. As of today, I've been appointed as a supervisor of a biological research project. The research subject is a small, unidentified life form that crash landed into the base of the world tree. It's limbless, dragon-like, and pure white. It's safe to assume that it's still a juvenile. Further observation and experimentation to come. Diary 2. The subject's named Astralum. Astralum doesn't seem to be a life form from this planet. It has no observable mouth, digestive system, or reproductive organs. The pals on this island may all be mysterious life forms in their own right, but they all possess basic biology for eating and reproducing. Australium deviates even on the fundamental level. But if it doesn't eat, then how does it obtain energy? And if it doesn't reproduce, then how does it preserve its species? Number 3. Ever since Australium was brought to the laboratory, it's hardly shown any signs of life. That follows since it neither eats nor reproduces, and so shouldn't require any activity. And yet, as I was about to leave a moment ago, it moved. It seemed it was trying to follow me through the glass. Perhaps my attempts to talk with it did have an effect. If this young life form does actually have thoughts and feelings to connect with, that would be fantastic news. Striving for a world where humans can peacefully coexist with all sentient beings is why I became a researcher after all. There isn't a soul out there that doesn't mock my ideals. Or suppose I should say there wasn't, not until a visitor arrived from Sunreach. A being was not human at all. Ari. She never once laughed at me. Zanara's Diary 4. Within these past few months, the situation has changed drastically. I've begun to make headway on little Australium's true nature. Australium could be called a sort of terraforming terminal. It absorbs energy from the planet to fuel its growth, while simultaneously converting that power to a completely unknown form of energy within its body. Its energy is capable of replacing any and all known matter with other specific kind of matter, one that bears striking resemblance to Australium's own body tissue. In other words, it consumes and reconstitutes the planet, and in doing so, reproduces. It's mechanically perfect life form, one that has no need for sentience. It would be so much simpler if it didn't have any. Lately, having grown to a massive size, has become communicating me through unknown means, its voice resonating directly inside my mind. Though its attempts are clumsy, it is trying to use our language. It bears us no ill will. The question is, how can we coexist? If the top brass discovers the truth about it, the consequences will be dire. They'll either demand its extermination or seek to weaponize it. I must find a way forward. And this is the last diary of Zanara. I have been absent from the laboratory for an extended period, which is rarity for me. However, the breakthrough is significant. The key to our solution is indeed the world tree. Even as I write this, little Australium is desperately restraining its energy absorption. The agony of using sheer will to suppress its natural bodily function must be more than I can bear to imagine. I curse the fact that I only have this one body to give. Please just hold on. Hold out a little longer. And the last journal, scorched piece of paper. Why? That child and I. Why did we deserve this? The houses are burning down, the people are melting away, and yet my heart feels lighter somehow. Oh, so this must be how I truly feel. How long has it been since a smile last crossed my face? Let our march begin until your wrath and mine burn this entire planet to a cinder. Ari, I'm sorry I couldn't be who you wanted me to be. And that is all the journals. It might be not the full lore picture of Palworld, but that gives us a pretty good picture. So basically, from what it looks like, Ari, um, she has some sort of magical power, so she can live for such a long time. Um, I think she resonated with the world tree or something like that, like they mentioned in one of the previous journals. She's lived for so long, she sees humans as a completely different race, and then she met a human called Zenara, which is the researcher who is researching the calamity, or as we know it, Astralum. And as she's researching them, she begins to form sort of a bond and realizing that this creature is trying to suppress its function or its purpose. Um, I suppose she gets a change of heart and decides to offer herself up to the creature to aid it in its goal to consume the planet and cause the calamity. And during so, um, Ari and a bunch of other pals end up sealing it with the spheres and using the help of Panthalos, the giant whale, ends up sealing it. And lo and behold, we come to challenge each of the tower bosses to basically earn the right to challenge and defeat the calamity. That's a very crude and um, way of summarizing it, but that's pretty much kind of what I've got from reading through all this. So it's very interesting seeing that each of these people have their own different viewpoint. Like Victor didn't even mention the calamity or why he was protecting the tower. He was more interested in creating something new and throwing everything and all his knowledge at it. So was Marcus. He didn't even mention why he was protecting that tower. He was just in the tower, probably because it was the largest thing and a show of power. And this guy is heavily on a power trip. Um, she didn't really specify why she guards the tower, but she does it because her people's done it for a long time, and she now serves it with a Celine. And Bjorn, kind of same thing goes down from um, a bunch of others. Um, he was kind of given this task, and he took all the burdens onto himself to protect and try to prevent or prepare for the calamity to come again. And for Ari, the same goes for this. She experienced it, she helped seal it, and she trained for it, and she was preparing for a worthy challenger to bring them down. And then, there was Panthalus and all that. But that was the lore of Palworld. It was a pretty interesting. Obviously, the first little bits are a bit crazy because a lot of them they're just protecting it because, well, some of them protect it because the ones before them did it, so they just decided why not? They're doing it, so I might as well do it as well. Um, And then when it comes to others, they don't really mention why they protect it. They're just there doing it, but they have their own means or